Week 13. Let's go. Welcome, everybody, to the Backstone Rumble. I am your host, Mike. We are brought to you, as always, by the Herb and Rodg podcast, and we are joined by Herb and Rodg themselves. Herb, how you doing tonight?
Mike, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. It's been a long day. I'm glad it's almost over. Ready to get tomorrow started. Hopefully, it'll be better. But again, how are you? Because you didn't technically answer my question.
I'm good, Mike. I'm good. But I just felt like it was more important to see how you were doing and seeing if you were okay. So
well, I am no more important than anyone else on this panel. So I appreciate it, but I do appreciate you asking. Raj, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, Mike, I'm fantastically splendid.
Oh, I appreciate that, Raj. That was a great answer. All right. So we will get into week 13 here on the games. Oh, wait. Is there something wrong, Raj? I thought that was a great answer. You said you were fantastically splendid like always, right?
Apparently I did, and I am.
Good. Everybody's here.
Your
We're doing
smile
well
is
tonight.
just as handsome as ever. So that's
Thank you. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that.
But we will get into week 13 of college football and the picks by these two gentlemen up here, the people you came to see. Coming in and talking a little bit about week 11, apparently. I forgot to change that. Week 12. Sorry for my mix-up. There was a tie, but we did have our underdog challenge for the first time. Rodg did get an outright win, so that makes him +2. Herb did cover with his, but didn't get the outright win, so +1. So still falling a little bit behind, even though it was
that Pitt game would have really done it for me. That game was a roller coaster.
Yep. And there you go. See our updated scoreboard. It looks a little bit different with the underdog score. But again, say it every week. And while there's not as much football to play as there has been, the season is flying by, guys. I don't know if you've noticed this, but week 13 already. Good Lord, it's going quick.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But we do have a few more weeks. Some good games coming up this week, and we will get right into them. Starting off with Ole Miss, number 9, coming into the swamp at 11 o'clock. Ole Miss is favored, pretty large line, 10.5. Roger, up first. Do you have a why?
Yeah, this is a tough one based on what we saw last week from each team. What was Ole Miss off last week, or who did they play last week?
They were off last week. They had to play the bye.
I'm sorry. They played the bye. I'm sorry. Based on what we saw from Florida, Florida looks like they're getting a little better with Lagway in. I'm not going to throw any Lagway jokes in right now, so don't get your hopes up.
Oh, you've come a long way since making those lame Lagway jokes.
I know. I don't know. This is a tough one. I'm still gonna go with Ole Miss. I think offensively they still have a step ahead, and offensively and defensively, I think they're still a few steps ahead from Florida. But Florida I think they're headed in the right direction. The only problem with Florida is that they're going to have a tough schedule next year. So I kind of feel like the Billy Napier rumblings will continue on until he's officially gone from that team. But again, if they have the same schedule year in and year out, I mean, they might have the same results. Even though that's a story for another day, but I'm gonna take Ole Miss in this game.
All right, Herb, what do you think? Ooh, we're starting early. I like it.
Okay. I think he's constipated.
No, I took a dump right before he came on here. So to be fair, I was gonna take Florida either way, but it makes it even better if it's an anti-Rodg pick.
Yes.
Man, you gotta love the way they've been playing great at home, coming off that big win against LSU. Even gave Georgia fits in their game against them. Ole Miss coming off that big win, sitting at home, trying to get up to play this Florida game. Ole Miss clearly the better team, but man, I do like what I've seen from Lagway. I think Florida can do enough to get one more major upset this year, so I'm taking Florida at home.
All
right. With the anti-Rodg pick, so the first one at least of the day, we do have our first disagreement. So hopefully we will see some changes in the scoreboard. Next up, number 21, Arizona State, newly ranked, against BYU, who suffered their first loss. Arizona State's actually favored by 3 points and at home. Herb, you up first on this one. Who you got?
This is one of those I didn't even kind of look at. Arizona State, to be honest, just kind of reading the line. BYU just has not impressed me in the last couple of weeks. Refs kind of bailed them out 2 weeks ago. They lose this game last week. the odds maker, who is clearly smarter than me, are favoring Arizona State at home. I'm taking Arizona State. I think BYU drops another one. Pressure gets to be too much. This whole playoff thing, and maybe just winning the Big 12 will be enough for them. But I think they drop this game.
All right, Rod.
Surprisingly, I agree with Herbert. I don't think BYU has looked that impressive lately. They didn't look impressive last week, coming off the strange ending to the Kansas game. And my apologies to Arizona State. I haven't paid too much attention to them this year, but I didn't realize they were like 7-2, 8-2.
Nobody was paying attention to them though, so it's fair.
But as Herb said, I'm going to take Arizona State simply because they're at home.
All right, there we go. Got an agreement there. Moving on. The Kansas Jayhawks, coming off of that win that you mentioned over BYU, now hosts Colorado, who is up to number 16. Colorado's favored by 3. Roger up first. Who you got?
I'm going to go ahead and take the future Big 12 champs in Colorado. They're looking good. They really, really impressed me this year. I didn't know if they were going to be able to have a better season than they did last year, or if they were just going to mimic another 4-8 record. But they're looking good. They're looking like they're going to be the Big 12 champs, and we'll probably see them in the playoff. I'm going to go with Colorado on that offense.
All right, Herb.
Surprisingly, I agree with Marcel. I do think that Colorado's playing well. I think they're just seeming a little more focused this year. They're not giving up as many sacks they used to. Defense is playing better. And I think they've got that Big 12 championship in their sights. So I'm taking Colorado on the road in this game.
Yeah, it's good to see as a person who's been behind Colorado the whole time, they're actually exceeding my expectations as well. Yeah, I thought they'd make a bowl game, but I didn't even expect to see them be as good as they are. So pleasantly surprised with that. All right, coming off on the next game with a couple teams who don't have such a great outlook. Vanderbilt coming into Death Valley, a night game in Death Valley, which I've heard is hard to play in. I wouldn't know anything about that because I'm a Bama fan, but LSU is favored by 7.5. Herb, you up first? Who you got?
It was like I watched this one for a while, and I was like, give me a reason to pick Vandy, But it just seems like the early season shine has kind of worn off a little bit. LSU, I just can't imagine LSU losing a night game in Death Valley. I can't imagine the last time that's even happened, that they lost a night game in Death Valley. Seems like
didn't we hear earlier this year that Brian Kelly was undefeated in night games?
Yeah, exactly.
We heard a lot about
earlier this year or something like that.
He was like,
I think I'm going to ride that wave. I'm jumping off of the Vandy bandwagon, and I'm going to take LSU at home. Right. Now, would I mind being wrong? Not at all. But I think they win this one.
Rog, you got?
Yeah, I'm kind of with Herb on this one too. I feel like Vandy has done what they were supposed to do this year. They proved a lot to the SEC. They proved that they are a force to be reckoned with at times. But I think this is the night game in Death Valley that LSU was actually referring to, not the one that happened 2 weekends ago, not that Alabama game. But this is the night game that they were referring to. I'm looking for a big game from Nussmeier and Kyron Lacey in this game in the air. I do think it's going to be close because I think Vanderbilt's defense will put up a good fight, and LSU doesn't really have that great of a defense. But I'll take LSU in this one.
All right, there we go. Moving on. Number 6, Notre Dame. Number 19, Army. Notre Dame previously put it on another Service Academy team that was ranked. Can they repeat that at home? Roger, up first. Who you got? Army.
They have a good, real feel-good story for them. That's good for their football program.
This just sounds bad to start off like, yeah, I'm going to break it out.
But the bottom line is Army has not played anybody tough all year. I have a feeling that Notre Dame is going to handle Army the same way they did Navy. Maybe they won't beat them 51-52-14, but it's going to be a whooping. I got Notre Dame in this one.
All right, Herb.
So it's no surprise that Herb's little brother would pick the Irish over our armed forces because, as we've proven in former iterations, he does hate America. But he's not wrong in this. Seeing as how Notre Dame has treated our service academies and they have the playoffs firmly in their grasp, I think they handle Army in this game, unfortunately. So I got to take Notre Dame.
All right. Well, another agreement there. Moving on to the game.
You just used a whole bunch of big words to say the same thing I did. Firmly, grasp, iterations. Come on. You don't have to
I had to take what you said and make it actually sound smart.
Is grasp a big word?
Huge.
four letters.
It's 5 letters, Mike.
Well, you guys are
5
from
letters.
Alabama, so yeah.
Oh, I can't count. So yeah, it's 5. I said 4, so I can't even count. So I guess I should not make fun of you because I
Mike
can't.
coming in with a zinger and
Yeah. You can count on me. All right, moving on to the game of the week.
Yeah.
Number 2, Ohio State hosts number 5, Indiana. Big line. Ohio State actually favored by 13.5. Roger, up first. Who you got?
So this is the game that we've all been waiting for a few weeks, especially once they started to announce the playoff projections. This is the game where Indiana has to actually prove to us that they have a good football team. We know they're undefeated, and I get that. But right now, the best team that they played may have been a 5-5 Michigan. I think they have a good team. They've got a good story. They got a good quarterback in Rourke, good coaching, but I don't think they're going to be able to handle Ohio State. I do think Ohio State covers in this game, but to Indiana, you're basically just trying to prove to us that you can keep up. You want the score to be around 30-17, 30-20, somewhere in that range. You don't want it to be a blowout, because if there's a blowout, and I know people have their own opinions about the playoffs, but if it's a blowout, there's a possibility maybe they fall out of the top 12. I think they'll still be hanging around the 10 to 12 spots even after a blowout, but that blowout is going to prove to everybody that maybe Indiana's not the real deal. Yeah, so I'm going to take Ohio State.
All right, Herb.
This feels like one of those games. Raj and I talked about this earlier this week. It feels like one of those games where, Indiana's down late, and instead of trying to go in a hurry up and give more possession to Ohio State, like they drag out the clock, so like they only lose by 10 or 12. It just feels like one of those situations. Their only chance here, man, is to capitalize on Ohio State's slow starts. I just don't think it's going to be enough. I just think Ohio State's way more talented. I think they'll get up for this game, and I think they handle them. I think they take this game handily.
All right, everybody pretty much predicting a big win for Ohio State there. All right,
I like big wins, and I cannot lie.
All right. Moving on to the underdog challenge this week. Herb, you did say that Rodg stole your pick last week, but you do get first pick, so there's no one here to steal your thunder. Who do you have as your underdog pick of the week?
Ladies first.
There's none of these that I like this week, especially ones that we aren't picking. I thought about going with just a super huge dog like Kentucky, but I'm gonna go with the anti-Penn State pick and take Minnesota at home. I don't think they can win this one, but I think they can at least keep it close enough to give me a point. So we're not trying. Oh, are you talking about how we spell challenge in this one? Challenge.
I challenge you to a duel.
It's the challenge.
Challenge.
So, and for the underdog challenge, I am taking Minnesota this week.
I like how neither one of you noticed it last week, because that's the exact same thing one I used last week.
I did not notice.
I didn't remember.
I did not notice.
So I didn't change it at all. I didn't change this one at all. I just moved it over to the next one. So
well, that's fine. We like the challenge.
I
only noticed it because you guys were laughing a minute ago. I thought y'all were laughing at that.
No, he was laughing at the face.
I'm sure we're laughing at something I screwed up. So.
Yeah.
All right. What do you have as the line on that one? Because I didn't look at that game.
11.5.
All right. I will trust you there.
No, you should never trust me, but that's what CBS Sports has right now.
Raj, who you got?
I looked at the Western Michigan at Central Michigan game. I did a little bit of research that really didn't amount to anything, because none of it's going to matter, because I have absolutely no idea how this game's going to go. Western Michigan is favored by 7 points.
I can predict how
last
that
time I
game's going
checked.
to go.
But I'm going to go ahead and take Central Michigan. I think Central Michigan wins by a field goal.
I think they win 16-14 since the game was played yesterday.
Was that game played?
Yes.
I thought that was a Friday night game. Oh.
Western Michigan and Central Michigan? Yeah, they played last night. Central Michigan won 16-14. So your analysis was spot on. They did almost win by a field goal. Like, you are, Raj, for not doing a lot of research, you nailed it.
I promise. I promise I did not know. Had I known that, I would have changed it up. I did not know they played.
You didn't know and picked the score almost identical.
I promise. I promise to God. I promise.
that That was on while we were doing our show yesterday. That's how
I did this. I did this Monday night in the notes. I don't know if you can read it right here, but it says at the bottom. It says underdog dash Western Michigan -7 at Central Michigan. I'll take Central Michigan. I promise. I would not lie about that.
Oh.
So did you have a backup pick since that
I
one
did
has
not. I
already
did not have
gone
a
down?
backup pick. The first team I did look at was the Minnesota Penn State, but I was like, no, Penn State's going to win that one, so I'm not picking that one. So then I went to Western Michigan, Central Michigan.
Scroll through your phone real quick. Let's see if you can find a game
I
you
think
like.
it's an excellent pick, and he nailed it for not having watched it. So I'm inclined to just give him the point and say, "Man, this guy's amazing."
How about we both just get a point? See, now I got to go through the whole underdog to see who's.
I would
know
say
what?
The Pitt game was a good one.
I'll go ahead with the first one I see, which is the Friday game, and it says it's being played Friday night.
So-
UNLV at San Jose State. UNLV is
So
favored by
let's-
7.5, and I'll just take San Jose State.
So
okay.
hold on. Let's pivot. So I'm nothing if not fair. You said you thought Penn State would win. Herb, do you think Minnesota will win that game, or do you think?
I think Minnesota will hold close enough, and I just didn't like a lot of the underdogs, any of the other underdogs. Like last week, I loved some games. This one, I'm just like, yeah.
So are you willing to take Penn State at 11.5? And if they cover, then you get the point. And if they don't cover, then Herb gets the point.
I'm Herb, though.
I know. I'm asking Rod. Sorry, I should have been more specific. I'm asking Rod if he wants to go with that pick and take the plus 11.5. And if they don't cover, your underdog pick comes through since you're picking them as your underdog pick. And then if they don't cover, you get the point.
Herb, is that okay with you?
You wanted Minnesota, though, right?
What I'm saying is when the underdog challenge, when we first started talking about it on Sunday, I looked around. I said, okay, I thought about taking Minnesota, Penn State, but I felt like Minnesota wasn't going to pull it through, so I didn't select that one. Right. So my option B was Western Michigan, Central Michigan. Right. I honestly did not know when they played. So
if I bail out of my pick, would you want to take Minnesota plus 11.5?
No.
Oh, well then, yeah, that's the only other.
How about let's just give a point to Herb. That's fine for the underdog pick. That's fine.
No, can't do it, Rodg.
Okay, well, with that being said,
I'm saying if you want Minnesota, I will take Pitt versus Louisville.
I'll take San Jose over UNLV. That'll be my second pick.
Okay.
Yep, they play tomorrow night or not tomorrow, Friday night at 9.
Yeah, depending on when you're watching this, they haven't played though.
I am impressed with myself for actually pretty much.
I mean, Rodg, I'm listening to it, knowing the score, and I'm like, man, he's on. That's why I said I was fine giving you the point because I knew you hadn't watched it.
No. They already played.
So what do they have as the line on that game?
Which one?
On San Jose State.
They have UNLV is favored by 7.5.
7.5. Okay.
So I'm just gonna pick San Jose State to win the game. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but I'll take it.
There we go. There are underdog picks with a little bit of behind the scenes footage there. All right. Next up, the game we're all going to be paying attention to. Two of us will actually be in attendance to that game, and it won't be this guy. So, well, what are you guys looking forward to? What do you think the score will be for Alabama, Oklahoma, Rodg?
I would like for Alabama to establish a run game. We already know about Oklahoma's run defense, and it's pretty good, pretty solid. I think it is important for us to still try to push the run as much as possible, not force it, because if we can establish somewhat of a run game, they'll be more focused on that, and then we can go ahead and air it out. I don't like us starting the game off by passing the ball 7 or 8 times to Ryan Williams. I don't feel like that's a smart thing to do. I would love to see them spread it out throughout the receivers. Defensively, I don't think they're going to be able to stop us. I don't think they're going to be able to protect Jackson Arnold that much if he is a starting quarterback. I think if we get a little pressure on him, it's going to force him to make some really, really bad passes, which is going to lead to a few picks. I am predicting Alabama with 2 interceptions. 2 interceptions. I would love any kind of turnover whatsoever, but 2 interceptions specifically. As far as a final score prediction, I am going to go Alabama 35-17. No, because they're not going to score. 35-10. 35-10.
Yeah.
All right. Herb?
Yep. And that's kind of, I don't think they're scoring a lot. We even had an Oklahoma guy on, and he doesn't think they're going to score a lot, so I feel comfortable with that. So a lot of what Rodg said, if our offense can get clicking, I think we'll be fine. I think our defense will hold them down enough. Key to take the crowd out of it early, and kind of like we did with LSU, shut the door right after halftime, depending on who gets the ball first.
Yeah.
I kind of like a 27-7-ish kind of score somewhere in there. They do have a good defense. I just feel like we're going to wear them down. So even if we, establishing the run is huge just so we can get some long sustained drives.
Yep, I agree.
All right, there we have it. All the games that we will go over this week. Hopefully everybody has a great weekend. You guys enjoy Oklahoma. Have a great time at the game. And as always, roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.